Sammy, how are you?
Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good. I have Sue's on here. Thank you, Sue, for forwarding the link.
Direct effects of radiation.
What are you hoping to accomplish for them with the creation of this vodka?
Well, I think we're sort of trying to make a point.
You heading out west, Sammy?
Friday morning,
Okay.
yeah. Yep.
Yep. Okay. Great. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Hey, Bob.
Good evening.
I see we have two Suors and both looking well.
That's really funny. I didn't realize I show up as Sue. So I didn't get my link for this week. So Sue bailed me out, as she
Not a
often
problem.
does in
I've
life.
done the same thing.
That's really funny to know. You
You
can't
can
sneak
read.
in.
You can rename yourself with the 3 dots in the corner.
Can I?
Yeah, I did. I just changed myself from the township.
Who do you want to be?
I'm gonna call myself not Sue or. Okay, well, excuse me if I get really close up here while I figure this out.
Are you done making dust, Jim?
We've got all the corn and soys in. We got about 300 acres of edibles to plant. We worked it once. And now we're in the process of praying for rain because she's drying out like crazy, but it's been so cold, we didn't want to plant till the end of the month. But I have got the stones picked, so you got to look on the bright side.
I did it for you.
No, it's pretty dry, Bill.
I may not have that option because I'm a lowly panelist.
Are we ready? All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and I'd like to remind everyone that we are being Zoomed or Facebook, whatever. Live stream. There you go. Thank you. And we'll start out with a moment of reflection. Now, I have a motion that the council agenda dated May the 18th, 2021 be approved as circulated. Moved by Deputy Mayor Aitchison, second by Councillor Corby. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right, remind everyone of the declaration of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we don't have a report from closed session. Consent agenda. Would anyone like to see anyone remove or discuss something? Deputy Mayor Aitchison.
Yes, I'd like 6.2 pulled. We can discuss it now or later, whatever you want.
No, I'll move it to correspondence. Anyone else?
I unmuted for the same reason.
Okay. Well, with that, then, I have a motion that the consent agenda items 6.1 to 6.20, with the exception of 6.2, be received for information, and then the regular council minutes of May the 4th, 2021 be adopted. Moved by Counselor Jeffrey, second by Counselor Orr. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And we will move on to public meetings, hearings, and delegations. Community safety, well-being. And I think we have, mine says Janine Fast, and I see we've got a few others. So I'm not sure who's going to take it away. Kim, Chief Skinner.
Yeah, your worship, I'll take it.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Is Janine on the line? I can't see her. And she's got a PowerPoint. She's got a PowerPoint she's going to queue up.
There she is.
Yeah, can somebody enable the screen share for me?
I think Rebecca's gonna share that with you.
It's been,
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, I think it looks like you. There you go, Janine.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay, so good evening, Mayor and Council, and thank you for giving us some time on your agenda today to present you with the final version of the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan for the Perth County Partnership Municipalities and Councils. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Greg Skinner, the Chief of Police of the Stratford Police Service, and joining me as part of this presentation team are Kim McElroy, Director of Social Services for Stratford, Perth County, and St. Mary's, Acting Inspector Dave Cinco, Detachment Commander for the Perth County OPP, Tracy Farmer, Lead Consultant on the project from DPRA Consultants, and Janine Fast, Housing Stability Policy and Program Coordinator with Social Services. I hope you've had some time to review the documents we have provided in advance, but if not, I hope that our overview today provides you with the information you need to adopt this plan for your municipality. The intention of today's presentation is to briefly provide you with a broad overview of the why and how of the legislative requirement for each municipality to have a community safety and well-being plan, and the extensive public and stakeholder consultations that inform the consultants to identify the priority areas, determine the goals and objectives at a high level, and then look at our next steps as we implement the plan. Items 4 and 5 on the screen above is where we will be focusing today. And now to talk about the background, I'll turn it over to Inspector Cinco.
Good evening, everyone. Each municipality is required through legislation to have a community safety and well-being plan approved and adopted by July 1st, 2021. I have been impressed with the cooperation at the municipal government level as all 6 municipalities in Perth County partnered to commit to one plan. That is no easy task at the best of times, but Tracy and her team at DPRA were able to very professionally navigate the challenges presented by a global pandemic to produce a document that recognizes the similarities and the differences among the communities represented by the partner municipalities, and to build in the flexibility in the plan that can meet the diversity of needs across the county. The purpose of the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan is not to recreate the wheel. Each of your municipalities individually and collectively have incredible people performing amazing work to support your communities. The purpose of this plan is to be the overarching plan that coordinates those activities happening now, leverages existing resources, shares best practices, and identifies and addresses any gaps in service delivery. We live in a fast-paced world where issues come at us from all directions, and it is easy to get pulled into the weeds and get stuck in paralysis by analysis. The intent of this plan is to provide a strategic, coordinated effort where complex community issues are addressed holistically, ensuring that resources are provided effectively, efficiently, and consistently, with the community knowing what resources are available, how to access them, and what services they can expect to be provided. This graphic demonstrates the 4 levels of intervention to community issues. Incident response is expensive. That is where resources, including police, fire, ambulance, social services, hospitals, and emergency rooms are required to deal with people in potential crisis situations. This plan focuses primarily on the other three levels in order to reduce the calls for service and reduce the risk to our communities. The more initiatives we can implement that are focused on social development, prevention, and risk intervention, the greater impact we can have on our communities. Some examples of programs that have been very positive, have had a very positive impact, include the Mobile Crisis Rapid Response Team model. We're taking the services to the street and to the people who need them, but struggle to access them, are served better, and as a result, and result in less in the way of expensive incident response. And now I'll turn it over to Kim to discuss how we created the roadmap.
Thank you. The stakeholders listed above provided DPRA with their advice, guidance, and local experience in developing the research and survey tools to ensure that the right organizations and individuals were contacted to contribute to this plan. The advisory committee meetings provided the opportunity for the leadership positions who have the ability to make decisions and are authorized to allocate resources, including funding from existing budgets, to come together for a common purpose. It is this structure at the senior leadership level that will model the participation of the action groups to inform the executive leadership team. This plan is guided by the following principles: respect, equity, collaboration, inclusion, commitment, and compassion. As you can appreciate, there is a lot of existing information that needed to be reviewed to ensure that the goals and objectives of the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan aligned with existing strategic plans of your municipalities and supported the goals that you want to achieve as a council. All of the information obtained from that research and consultations were built into this plan. The stakeholder engagement is the key to this plan being successfully accepted by our communities to address the diverse needs of each of our municipalities. The next few slides will provide an overview of the efforts that were used to reach out to the community and provide them an opportunity to participate so they could have their input into the priorities, objectives, goals of the plan. A comprehensive online survey was conducted with significant efforts being made to get the public to complete the surveys. In the end, an impressive 1,078 surveys were completed with the proportion by municipality outlined above. In addition to the survey numbers, a number of facilitated discussions and one-on-one interviews were held. A total of 91 participants participated in these sessions. The last component of the stakeholder engagement sessions focused on those with lived experience. I think we all recognize that until we've walked a mile in another person's shoes, we really don't know what challenges they have faced along the way. Those with lived experience have a unique perspective, one that the consultants went to great lengths to ensure was included in this engagement process. Because if we don't know who our consumer, then the delivery of the service won't meet their needs, and whether that is the delivery of programs for seniors, programs for youth, or support for those suffering with mental health and addictions. These engagement sessions did not take place as originally planned, as the work plan for this project predated the pandemic. Workarounds were implemented. Regardless, because of the consistent messaging we heard throughout the engagement process, we are confident that the priorities identified will have the most positive impact on our communities. And now I will pass it to Chief Skinner, who will share the consultation findings with you.
So what did we hear from those consultations? We heard that for all residents to feel safe and physically, mentally, and spiritually healthy, their basic needs must be met. We heard that safety and well-being means residents feel they belong, they are welcome, they are respected, and they are connected to others in the community. We heard there are vulnerable individuals and families in our communities who need additional help to enhance the quality of their lives. We heard there are many excellent social, health, and recreational leisure programs and services available to residents in and across the 6 partner municipalities. And we heard that not all of the residents are able to access those services and supports they need when they need them, where they need them. The survey responses for all of the communities indicated that the access to healthcare services was the #1 priority to support community safety and well-being. Stratford and St. Mary's both had adequate and affordable housing as their #2 priority, while North, West, and South Perth respondents identified other community securities and safety as their #2 priority. This catch-all includes police visibility and enforcement strategies as a deterrent to criminal activity and traffic-related issues. Perth East respondents identified recreational activity opportunities as their #2 priority. This plan takes into account the similarities and differences in these identified priorities, enabling each municipality to put programs and services in place to meet their specific community's needs. The facilitated focus groups and one-on-one discussions identified similar priorities in more detail, as you'll see in the 9 identified priorities in the slide. As we said earlier in this presentation, the intent of the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan is to leverage the great work being done already and support the implementation of programs on a go forward that addresses any gaps in service delivery. We identified some of the ongoing committees and initiatives that are in place supporting some of the priorities identified, which this plan will rely on to inform our future coordinated efforts. I'll now turn it over to Inspector Cinco, who will review the 4 priority areas identified.
So all of the research, consultations with stakeholders, and engagement with the public culminated into the identification of 4 priority areas that will focus work and contributions to community safety and well-being. Priority area 1, we've titled systems planning and integration, with the first goal being to improve knowledge of and access to programs, services, supports, and resources. What became apparent during the engagement sessions was that people either didn't know what programs were available in their community or how to access the programs that did exist. More creative and persistent communication initiatives will better position people to access and utilize the supports already in place and better identify any gaps. Goal number 2 under this priority is focused on police visibility and more subject matter experts on patrol or readily accessible to police as a deterrent to negative behavior in our communities. And of course, major event planning and preparedness was identified in response to the efforts being put in place to keep our communities safe and healthy during this global pandemic. Priority area number 2 is adequate, affordable, and attainable housing. The goal of this area is to increase the availability of accessibility of affordable, safe, and suitable housing by supporting the strategic objectives of our area's updated housing and homelessness plan. Priority area 3, affordable and accessible health, social, and recreation services. Goals include improving the availability and accessibility to healthcare services by supporting healthcare partners in their work and improving knowledge and awareness of crisis response triage options. And a third goal under this priority area is to increase the availability of affordable transportation options and support the efforts that are currently underway. Priority area number 4, social inclusion. Goals include increasing the application of equity, diversity, and inclusion practices across all partner agencies and promote understanding of the diverse groups and populations that live in our community. And the final goal in this area is to enhance our resident sense of community belonging by creating and maintaining safe and welcoming public spaces, and increasing access to community events and activities for everyone. And at this time, I'll pass it back to Kim to share what happens next.
So after council's adoption of this plan as the community safety and well-being plan, the next step will be implementation. One of the things I've consistently heard when dealing with members of the public is that we may be aware of the issues plaguing our communities, but no one is doing anything about it, and some with lived experience feels that nobody cares about them. Nothing could be further from the reality, but it speaks to the need for more communication. A big part of the initial phase of the implementation will be a comprehensive communication strategy to inform rollout of the plan to the public, provide ongoing updates of the enhancements being made to our collective service delivery efforts to demonstrate to the public that this plan is not sitting on a shelf. The public has high expectations of its politicians and municipal employees. In order to maintain trust and support from our constituents, we need to do a better job of letting the public know what we are doing, what we hope to achieve, and how they can be part of the solution. The strategic engagement approach to our community safety and well-being plan is, it recognizes the strengths that already exist within and across municipalities and organizations. It enhances effectiveness by creating more strategically aligned and formalized alliances. It helps to improve integration, enhance capacity, reduce duplication, and promote coordination and collaboration. The community safety and well-being plans are meant to bring those with individual mandates together as partners to find new creative ways to deal with local issues and explore the options. The concept of team facilitates the potential for the whole to be greater than the sum of its parts. Coordination of resources, sharing of information, integrated approaches to problem solving, less duplicating, and greater efficiencies are all benefits of collaboration, and the community as a whole benefits when organizational leaders can model the way by thinking beyond their own mandates and how decisions they make affect the environment of others around them. The governance structure to provide guidance, direction, and oversight of the plan was a subject of significant discussion. For the implementation of the plan, the decision has been made to delineate the executive leadership as those who are legislatively bound to have this plan in place and have participated as a funding partner to create the plan, thus having broad responsibilities for their individual community safety and well-being. So each partner municipality will have a seat at the executive leadership table, with the police and social services participating as co-chairs and resources to the executive leadership team. The voting rights are reserved for the representatives of the municipalities. The key stakeholder committee consists of the leadership of those existing agencies and organizations whose mandates are aligned with the goals and objectives of the plan. The action groups is where the heavy lifting will take place, and there's flexibility to align the action groups based on geography, priority, or an already existing committee. The plan will leverage existing committees, and the first implementation steps for the plan will be to conduct an inventory of all the existing committees in Perth County, review their mandates and the programs they have in place currently. We will then begin the process of bringing the leadership from like-minded action groups together for greater clarity on what exists currently and how those committees are currently interacting. The responsibility of the Partnership Council will be to implement the plan, identify the linkages between the programs and services, and enhance coordination among and between municipalities and service providers. It will be the responsibility of the Partnership Council to determine how frequently to report back to the individual municipal councils, determine the annual budget allocations that will go before each council, and provide operational support to the plan. The Partnership Council will have final decision-making over the structure of the plan. We anticipate that there will be a report back expectation to the Ministry of Solicitor General, although this has not been clarified yet. The Partnership Council will then have that responsibility as well. The action groups will be the conduit of the plan to the community. These groups will be the backbone to the plan and will provide the means to where the creativity, innovation, and problem-solving acumen will have the most impact on our communities. Communication, cooperation, collaboration, and commitment will be the key components to the success of this plan. And now Chief Skinner will conclude this presentation.
Once all of the partner councils have reviewed, approved, and adopted the plan through resolution, then the implementation plan can be put into action. The last of the presentations to individual councils happens on May 25th, and assuming all adopt the plan, then the next steps will be to 1, convene the Partnership Council and formalize the implementation plan and terms of reference. 2, identify action groups and inventory their individual mandates, composition, priorities, goals, objectives, and accomplishments to date. 3, develop performance measurement and evaluation tools for the purposes of focus and report back. And 4, and most importantly, establish a communication strategy to publicly introduce the plan. Just a couple of final thoughts before opening up to questions. I want to commend Tracy and her team from DPRA for being able to complete this plan during a pandemic. I don't know if any of us truly appreciate the challenges that her team faced in engaging the public and key stakeholders during a period of community lockdowns, video conferencing, and competing priorities for municipal and corporate leaders. Thank you, Tracy, to you and your team. Also, I want to congratulate your municipality on the commitment of your staff throughout this process. We recognize that each municipality has its individual needs, and in no way, shape, or form is this plan an attempt to impose its priorities on your community. This is not a zero-sum game. This is about bringing people and committees together and to understand the diverse issues, broaden the impact of successes already achieved, and leverage the knowledge and commitment of existing committees, and in so doing, provide you as elected representatives with the information you need to satisfy yourselves and your constituents that progress is being made to make your community safer and enhance your community members' quality of life. Thank you for the opportunity to present today, and if there are any questions, our team would be happy to take them.
Okay, thank you very much. Council, questions? My goodness, you're going to get off that easy? Well, I'm not seeing any questions. I guess first off, Chief Skinner, Inspector Semenko, Kim, Tracy, and Janine, a job well done. And I'm really pleased to see that you were able to pull it together. And I know I've been one that's advocated, we have a lot of duplications of services, and what we really need to do is narrow that down and provide a good service and let it be communicated what services are out there. So I look forward to seeing this move forward and working with everyone we can to make it happen. So before we close with this one, any questions? Deputy Mayor Aitchison.
Not necessarily a question, more of a comment. So under the new Ontario Health Teams, they've actually synchronized a lot of the services. So if you go in and apply for a mobility bus service in St. Mary's or Stratford or wherever, you are actually given the information to all services available now. Am I not correct? So that should help you along in making knowledgeable services available to the people. If anybody asks one agency, they get all the agency's information, I believe now.
Yes, through you, Your Worship. We will be working very closely with the Ontario Health Teams because yes, they do have those inventories in place. Whether they are a total overview of all of the services in the county or not, I don't know. But yes, we will be working very closely with the Ontario Health Teams to get those inventories and make sure that we're all singing from the same song sheet.
Just further to that, they've actually added central intake now for all those services, so that should make it a lot easier.
Well, that's great. Thank you. With that, I have a motion that the council of the township of Perth South receive the report consideration of adoption of the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan 2021 to 2024 and implementation plan dated May the 18th, 2021. And further, that the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan be adopted by Perth South Council and forwarded to the Ministry of the Solicitor General as required by the Police Services Act 1990. And further, that additional resources to implement and sustain the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan as outlined in the report be referred to the 2022 budget process. Moved by Councilor Martin, second by Councilor Orr. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. Job well done.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. With that, we will move on to site plan agreement, and I believe we have Adam with us. And,
Yes,
I
good
believe
evening,
Mr.
Your
Downham's
Worship.
there too, so
Yes. Yes.
welcome, Adam.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship, members of council. I'm going to share a screen and walk council briefly through this, I think, exciting new development. Okay, can everybody see the site plan in front of them?
Yep.
Okay.
Think
perfect.
so?
Okay, so the property is located at the southeast corner of the intersection of Highway 7 and Perth Line 26. And this application is for the DNS Downham Farm Implement Sales and Service Establishment. And the site plan development consists of a 19,300 square foot main showroom repair and storage area. There's also a detached accessory building, which is just under 5,000 square feet. The property will also have a fire pond with a dry hydrant for fire protection. And there will be storage areas basically along the perimeter of Perth Line 26 and then along the Highway 7 corridor. Just briefly for council's background, the site plan was circulated internally to Perth South Departments, County Roads, MTO, Planning Department as well did review, Fire Department did review. In terms of site plan review and commenting, I think this was one of the smoother ones that I've ever done. We got everything done very quickly and we only had to go through one set of revisions. So the development that council sees before it tonight has been looked at and signed off by all relevant departments and agencies. The site plan agreement is attached in council's agenda package. And I would be happy to answer any questions that council may have. And as well, I believe Mr. Downham is here to, if there are any questions about the development.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions from council? Well, looks Adam that you're,
Just a minute, Bob.
yes, Councilor Jeffrey.
The swale, as you call it, along the south side. What water is all entering that and where does that water then empty into? You follow me?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I just don't, off the top of my head, I don't remember where it flows to, but there is a stormwater management report in council's package. The other thing is that the County Roads Department and I believe local public works looked at the stormwater as well. And there were no concerns. The MTO didn't have any concerns either with any of the stormwater. I know that doesn't answer your question of where the water goes, but if it gives you peace of mind, the agencies that reviewed it had no concerns with the plan.
I noticed also that in the storm amounts or water participation coming at certain times. How come Perth East was used all the time? Why not Perth South?
Sorry, for
And the amount of water, like in a storm, and anticipating the amount of inches of rain or centimeters, whatever you want to call them, they always referred to Perth East. We're not in Perth East, we're in Perth South.
So in my very limited engineering knowledge, which is next to nothing, I know that when we've done stormwater reports before, when I've looked at stormwater reports before, what they have is they have like benchmark events. And I've seen reference to what they call the Timmins storm or the Timmins event. And I guess in Timmins, 25, 30 years ago, they had a benchmark rainfall. It was a large amount of rain that fell in a small time. So when they do these engineering reviews, they do it based on the worst case scenario. So for whatever reason, the Perth East rainstorm event was used. That's all I know. I don't know any more than that, but
I just found that amusing that we weren't using our local settings, and I'm sure that the Upper Thames have all kinds of information like that. And so I was just wondering, maybe because your engineering firm is, I believe, was from Cambridge or someplace, they weren't maybe familiar with Perth South.
yeah, I think the firm that did the stormwater was MTE, just out of Stratford here.
Well, then they should know where Perth South is. Just for information, I noticed that, but then I was inquiring. There is a lot of area that is now under pavement and then under roof. So I was inquisitive if that swale was going to handle all the stormwater. I know some is going into the pond, fire pond, but also then that swale, that is going to carry a lot of water even from the highway.
Yeah, and so through you, your worship, I'm looking at the site plan here, and at the far south end of the property, it looks like they've got that large swale that you mentioned. It looks like it's pretty significant. So that's more than likely you're going to get water going to the ditch on 26 onto 7, and then I believe most of that site is going to go flow across to that swale at the back of the property.
So I see you do have quite a size pipe taking it away. I think it's 200 millimeters or something. So I've just noticed that, and then I noticed that you didn't use Perth South's equations with the water, amount of water, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I will I'll give MTE a nasty call tomorrow.
Adam,
it doesn't need to be nasty.
Councilor.
Can you hear me? It's Bob Downham.
Yes, Bob.
So there's an easement going from our property down to the municipal drain. And if there's an overflow to a certain extent, like the waste area there, will collect it. But if there's an overabundance, then the easement, there's going off the property, there's an easement down to the municipal drain.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Orr.
Yes, I love the project. I'm actually excited for it. I do have I'm just out of maybe curiosity or concern. The existing building that you have, is it going to be used in conjunction with the new building? I guess I'm more concerned about people crossing the road. So I'm just wondering what's going to happen there, or if that's just going to become like for the pressure systems or something specific.
So basically the new building is going to accommodate all that we need for the complete business. So the existing building will be surplus to our needs. We're not anticipating having both locations operating. We'll have to decide whether or not it'll be surplus to the needs of the existing business, to the building, the ongoing business. And then we'll have to find an appropriate, either a tenant or a purchaser of that property.
Thank you.
Just from knowledge, you may be surprised how quick you fill that new building up. All right, seeing no further questions, I have a motion that the site plan application and plans, materials, and drawings proposed for development on the property described as municipally as 3982 Perth Line 26, property roll 3120-090-005-07 350 be approved, and the council proceed with the adoption of the bylaw authorizing the mayor and clerk to enter into the site plan agreement and have it registered on title of the subject property. Deputy Aitchison and Councillor Orr, all in favor? Carried. Well, congratulations, Mr. Downham, and we'll watch the building go up with interest, and we'll look forward to the grand opening.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for your support.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Adam.
Okay, and just for council's information, and maybe Mr. Downham's if he's still on the line. So next step is once the copies of the site plan are executed by the clerk and mayor, we will have the agreement registered on title. Once the solicitor gives us confirmation of registration, you may talk to Martin for your building permit.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. And now I will call on Deputy Mayor Aitchison to introduce our new CEMC for Perth County and Perth South and everyone in your area pretty much. Welcome, David. Go ahead, Jim.
Yes, it's my honor here to introduce David Clark. He comes to us. He started on May the 3rd. And in all honesty, during the pandemic, the CEMC job probably became far more valuable than we ever wanted it to. Let's be honest. The big thing here is collaboration between emergency management and David and paramedics and everybody else. They all collaborate together to make things work a little better. David's most recent role was, and I got to actually read this, Fire and Emergency Services Training Institute with Toronto Pearson Fire and Emergency Services in Toronto. And prior to that, he had all kinds of experience. He has been an Air Orange ambulance attendant. He's been a land ambulance attendant. He's worked for the Regional Waterloo Police Force. He's been a policeman. He's been a fireman. He's done all kinds of things. So I know I've talked with David a couple times, and I can't think we could have really not found a better person for the job. He's got great experience in every circle going, and I look forward, and the rest of us look forward to working with him. So David is basically going to be the CEMC for the Township of Perth South, but not just the Township of Perth South, all the lower tiers, the Perth County Council as well. And I believe you're going to also be doing some work for the town of St. Mary's, if I'm correct. So,
I believe so.
David, what did I forget? I just kind of remembering from back 2 weeks ago when I introduced you there. I think I got it right. I didn't call you the captain this time or whatever. I just said you worked for the fire department.
Yeah, was the captain, wasn't the chief.
Okay, that was it.
Great, welcome, David. And I know you've got a few words to say, so please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, and members of council and other panelists. We certainly appreciate the opportunity to come and introduce myself to you, and look forward to working closely with all of you. And like I said, I'm into week 3 now, and I'm still here, so nobody scared me away yet. I've had opportunity to meet with Mayor Willem and also with Rebecca and the chief building official as briefly as well. And as you said, Deputy Mayor, my background is varied. I started into the emergency services straight out of college as a young paramedic on the land, and then before Orange was Orange, was a critical care flight paramedic on Bandage 1 out of Toronto. That's a ways back. And then moved on to policing, which took me to Southwestern Ontario in the region of Waterloo. And my career in Waterloo was mainly spent in Division 3, which is Waterloo and Elmira, and so all the border municipalities as well with the County of Perth. And then moved on to Barrie City Police, and then had the opportunity to become a firefighter with the city of Mississauga, which had kind of always been my goal in the emergency services. There'll be people here on the call who remember Johnny and Roy from Squad 51 back in the day, and sort of inspired my youth to do those things. And then moved on from there to Enbridge. with the oil pipelines, and I was responsible for Eastern Canada and Western New York, so Ontario, Quebec, and Western New York. And my job there is very similar to the CMC. It was liaising with municipalities, emergency preparedness, emergency response, and making sure that those stakeholder partners were satisfied with the capabilities and that we worked together on plans and preparedness should, in the unlikely event something happen and go wrong. So that took me to Southwestern Ontario as well. And my wife was, her job took her here. She was with the hospital up in Barrie and now is the CEO of Ronald McDonald Charities for Southwestern Ontario, which covers the whole catchment area here. So that's how our family came to be back in the area. And I did work for Toronto Pearson Fire as a special operations captain and hazardous materials, and working with the police agencies and specialty teams was my background. I done a lot of training and actually worked for the state of Florida and the state of Michigan in that capacity for planning their exercises and evaluating their high-end elite teams, and then was able to do that as well in Canada with most recently our national CBRNE team with the Mounties and Toronto Police and all of our provincial team members from EMS and stuff. So it sounds like a lot, but it was over a span of a number of years. And I was very fortunate that I worked with some fantastic people and got to learn from some great folks. And I'm not done learning. And I'm hoping that with my background and in collaborating with you folks, that I'm able to work well and we can increase our preparedness and readiness and our plans and work together, not just as, different municipalities, but as sort of a team, and come up with sort of a 3 to 5 year plan for training and exercises and making sure that we're interacting. And if there's any, I'm here to listen as well. I want to hear, because what fits in one municipality, even within the county, may not be the same for another municipality. As Councillor Jeffrey pointed out, if it's Perth South and there's something specific to here, then we should address that. That's sort of it in a nutshell. I will be getting out as we clear the stay-at-home order. I will be in St. Mary's tomorrow to have a look at the upcoming new site that we're looking for the mass vaccinations and doing a walkthrough with the town of St. Mary's. And I can say that, the health unit and the folks that have been collaborating on all this have done a tremendous job and are really, we're fortunate to have them and what they're able to accomplish here. I was at the clinic in Stratford today as well, and very smooth operation. And, we should be proud of that. So I'm open to any questions or any concerns or anything that you'd like to see come from your CEMC and how I can best help. Because I'm not here to dictate what happens. I'm here to assist and be part of the team.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Questions from council? Seeing none. Well, thank you very much, David, and we look forward to working with you. And please don't take offense to this, but not too much. So, thank you, and I'm sure we will get together soon, hopefully, with the pandemics behind us.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for having me this evening. And yes, it's always nice to be the Maytag repairman, but a very prepared Maytag repairman. So.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
You too. Okay. Moving on, we'll go on to Director of Public Works, Drainage Superintendent update. Ken, any comments on that?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just my update report there. We've been busy out on the roads with a lot of stuff, getting some construction ready. I have a pre-construction meeting tomorrow. They're planning to start work on that bridge on Road 140 at the end of the month. Road 125, we've got some surface asphalt done yesterday on that road. Went very well. We're working on maintenance, gravel, dust control. And there's some information there with CN. I guess they're telling us kind of, they're saying officially now that they really don't want to pay for any municipal drainage work anymore, is what it sounds like. So we're trying to get some discussions going with some other municipalities that are impacted as well. Not sure. There's going to be more to come, I'm guessing, on that for sure.
Yes, I would expect, because there's quite a number of municipalities that are in the same boat as we are. Councillor Jeffrey.
Ken, what percentage of the drain was attributed to the CN? You have any idea what percentage? You know, they say that they don't want to pay anymore. Are we over charging them, or what is the problem, or don't they want to do anything?
Well, I think CN is seeing bigger costs, but a lot of it is attributed to their own requirements. So the crossing on Road 122, our road, they bored under the road, very similar to what they need to do under the railway. And I don't know the numbers exactly, but I think it was around $20,000 to do the work that we had to pay for our roadway. And then CN's work is expected to cost $80,000, quite a bit more, but it's because of requirements CN is asking for. We have to pay for soils testing to be done before and after. They have permit fees, they have locate fees, they have fees for the permit itself and for the flagging protection. So a lot of the extra costs are things they've asked for. I guess would be not just on our project, on all drain projects. They're asking for more than the MTO would on crossing provincial highways as well. So I think that's a big reason why the costs have gone up for them.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Erickson.
Well, I understand they don't want to pay, but here's the deal. Under the Drainage Act, they're really obliged and forced to pay. There's a lot of people that when drains go in say they don't want to pay, but if the Drainage Act dictates that they have to pay, they have to pay. And if they want to ask for all the extra, that's their problem, not ours. I'm not sure why about the soil testing. I'm sure it has something to do with make sure the track's still solid and whatnot, but I really don't have a lot of sympathy for them, to be honest with you. And unless they want to change the Drainage Act, they're going to have to pay. And I can't imagine a good lawyer not be able to clean that up for you pretty quick. She's in the Drainage Act.
Yeah, Deputy Mayor is correct. That's what we've been trying to tell them. The latest is, though, they're trying to pull the federally regulated stuff that they are. Therefore, that trumps the provincial legislation, which would be the Drainage Act. So I think they're trying to make it a little more complicated, but they're landowners that they need to pay for their share. I think it might hopefully it gets sorted out. It just takes some time. And
how much do we give the railways for crossings all the time every year? I see that check go out.
Yes.
I don't know if they're trying to say it's because they're federal. I could liken it to my own company. We're federally regulated, but we still obey the provincial speed limits. So, Rebecca.
I did include some information in regards to this in my report as well. So I just thought maybe it would be a good time for me to bring that into the discussion. So I have had a discussion with the CAO from Southwest Middlesex, and they're working with Thames Centre, who are really trying to push this forward and bring it to the attention of both the federal and provincial governments. I understand that they have previously had a delegation with OMAFRA, and it was mainly just to introduce this as being an issue. And we are getting notices now that delegation requests are being accepted for the province at the AMO conference. And I think that another delegation should be made and that we should try and do it jointly with the other municipalities. We were planning to set up a meeting shortly. I know they're the ones that are looking at coordinating that. And what we're going to do is just work on the next steps, you know, to try and advance this issue and give it and get it the attention that it needs from the higher levels of government, because this isn't something that we're going to be able to settle on our own. And as was previously mentioned, there are a huge number of municipalities, particularly in southwestern Ontario, that are going to be impacted. So it's a lot about reaching out to those municipalities, advising them of the issues we're having, because if they're not currently having those issues, they will shortly, and it's in their interest to band together with us and try and make some change with the other levels of government. So if council supports it, I can start doing some of the necessary paperwork to make sure that our delegation request is submitted, and then hopefully we'll have others to band onto that.
Okay. I think, well, let's deal with that on your report.
Sure.
And because we're still doing the drainage superintendent's update report. So with that, I don't think there's anything else on there. So I have a motion that the drainage superintendent updates report be received for information. Moved by Councillor Jeffrey, second by Councillor Corby. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Ken, your report.
Oh, sorry, Mayor. That was kind of a combined both reports. If anybody has any questions, so I can, on either one, I can try and answer them.
Hey, Deputy Mayor Aitchison.
So you said they've been in and done some asphalt up on 125. So do we have any idea when they're going to really be in here full bore? Because I've had a couple of people ask me about the Downey Optimus Community Center parking lot for when the lockdown ends. They were thinking of potentially having something in there. And I said, that will depend on construction. And I think the day I got given was July the 10th or 15th or something.
Yeah, I had asked about the Optimist Center there specifically to see what the schedule was on it, and I don't have anything specific. But I can follow up with them if there's expected to be some use started, so maybe we should try and get them started sooner on that.
It'd be
get done. Yeah.
Kind of nice to know, because the Downey Optimus drive-through dinner might be June the 10th if we're out of lockdown.
Well, Ken can perhaps discuss that and get back to us on that.
Perfect.
I think there was someone else. Councillor Corby, you had your hand up, I believe.
Yeah, Ken, I just want to compliment you and the crew that I travel line 11 and 14 all the time, and I thought they were in really good shape, grading and the calcium this year.
Thank you very much. I'll pass that on to the staff as well.
Thanks.
Okay. Any further questions, Ken? I just have a quick question, Ken. The roadside ditches, we were just spot spraying that, were we?
Yeah, this year we're focusing on the Blanchard side and where needed, spraying for weeds and some of the scrub brush type stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Deputy Mayor Aitchison.
One quick follow-up for Ken. So the OFA had sent a letter, and you and all the lower tiers in the county had done a joint response. So I got I got to read the first draft the other day, and I liked it. Do you have any comments on that, or? Because I don't think it hasn't been sent yet, has it?
I don't think so. I just saw the first draft the other day. I responded back that it looked great. I didn't have any further comments here. So I can let them know that that you would no more comments. That'd look good.
Yeah, I got a hold of John, said great.
Councillor Corby.
Hey, Ken, have you had any inquiries about that? I can't think of the name of it, but that grass that's really in the roadside ditches that's really bad. Have you had any complaints or anything about that, or had to deal with any of that?
On the Phragmites, there is a little bit in the area. They were the people who were doing our weed spraying, green stream. They were out and did a little bit of an audit for us and found a few small spots. And we're hoping to get that treated later this year. It's not a spring type of thing. It's something they do later on part of the program, but there is some spots around, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
It's not overwhelming like some places, but there is some around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you looking at the county roads also in Perth South? Because there's some up the road from me here. I see is coming back.
I can pass that on to the county. Is this there was some at the intersection?
Yes.
Edinburgh Road, is that the location?
Back a little east of that too, yeah. Yes.
Okay. Councillor Orr.
Just for reference, we have a bit here at the pit, but I've kind of learned that there is a good, I won't be able to say that word, phragmites, and there's a bad one. So it's a matter of whether you have the good or the bad one. The bad one is the one that's extremely tall, and it has a different kind of prey top. I believe the one I have isn't so invasive. It's not great, but it won't take over.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no further questions or comments, I have a motion that the Director of Public Works update report be received for information. Moved by Deputy Mayor Aitchison, second by Councillor Orr. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, anything else, Ken?
That's all, thank you.
All right, thank you. Move on to CAO's report, and I have a motion that the accounts payable listing dated May 14th, 2021 for the period of May 1st to May 14th, 2021 in the amount of $143,606.24 be approved. Motion put on the floor. Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Corview. Questions? Seeing none. All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. We'll move on to the update. Rebecca, before you get too far along, let's deal with this delegation about the drainage under the railway. And I think reading council that we would be in favor of you doing some paperwork and legwork to get that going forward so that we can get as much attention to it as we possibly can with a bunch of other municipalities joining in. So I think, is all council in favor of that?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I would do the necessary paperwork to start that, at least give us a placeholder. And I think I'm going to ask for the MTO and OMAFRA on that, just to try and give it as much coverage as possible. And then we have till June 4th to coordinate with the other municipalities and see what we can do. So I'll keep you apprised of that situation as it goes. In regards to my update report, the 2020 audited statements in the FIR are still work that needs to be completed. I haven't done anything on those over the last couple of weeks, but plan on getting back to those in the next couple of weeks. I did have a meeting with MPAC representatives, kind of an update meeting to see how things are going. They've recently implemented a new online system, which is working very well. I don't have any concerns with what they're doing, and they continue to expand the capabilities that it has, so that certainly is helpful on our end. They had indicated that they're quite happy with the scanning that we've done with the building departments and that all information is being received on time and there's no concerns with that, so that's also good to hear. I've been working with Public Sector Digest in regards to the software upgrade and the implementation of the new salaries module for our existing budget software. The most recent meeting we had was just to identify all of our needs and get all of the necessary information ready to start building the system. I've updated the procurement policy, but we'll talk about that coming up. I've also been working with eSolutions in regards to finalizing our bids and tender software. Bids and tenders was a project that was started a number of years ago, and it was not finalized. A lot of our procurement had been done jointly, and we kind of piggybacked on a lot of the procurement and never did finish that. So because there is a lot of procurement that we're doing this year, I'm working on getting that finalized. Because a lot of the work has already been done, it's not going to be long until we have that up and running. So that was part of the reason why the procurement policy needed to be updated as well. We did have a request for Sunday gun hunting, and I've been doing some background research on that. And we will be having Brian McRae from the Ontario Federation of Anglers and Hunters doing a presentation to council at the next meeting. I did write to Randy Pettipiece as well, just to inquire about the recent funding announcement in regards to fire services. Perth South wasn't included on that, and I feel that that we would be deserving of an explanation, as we do own part of fire departments, just to ensure that we were also given the funding which was intended to be used for safety training and fire inspections. We are continuing to do the work for the Downey Optimus Hall. The request for tender has been issued. It has a due date of Monday, June the 7th. It's advertised in all the local newspapers and has been distributed to local contractors. The project was actually broken into 3 parts: the cabinetry, the parking lot, and then the actual renovation construction. So the part that's out right now is the renovation construction. The second project we have is the renovation at the old township office, and I continue to wait for further direction from the province on that project. Asset management plan, I believe I've mentioned before at council, but the legislation regarding the asset management plan has been updated. So we've been given an extra year to complete our requirements, but we'll continue working on those after the completion of the audit and the FIR. And yeah, I participated in a meeting with our new CEMC, who you've now met, and had discussions with him in regards to updating our existing plan and finding an electronic solution so we don't have to carry our binders around anymore. That would be wonderful. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Rebecca? Councilor Orr.
Just curious regarding the fire money that we were supposed to get. Perth East did get some. Do you think that was maybe some confusion that they got our share, or we were included in that, or?
Well, they haven't really given us a lot of information in regards to how it was calculated, so it's a little hard for me to say. You know, we do have a part ownership in that one, but we have an even greater ownership one in the Grant and Fire Department, and then we purchase services. So, you know, I'm basically just asking them for some, you know, to show that our residents were included in the distribution of money. I don't know how they did it, but okay. I want to make sure that if any of our fire departments are entitled to some additional funding, that we're able to get it.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Seeing none, I have a motion that the CAO/treasurer update report be received for information. Moved by Councilor Martin, second by Councilor Jeffrey. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. Anything else, Rebecca?
My procurement policy update?
Yeah. Did that cover the one that you sent out at 5:11 too?
Well, the information that I sent out earlier today was just was a kind of an overview of the changes that have been made to the policy. The policy was actually distributed with the council package on Friday. It's a big package. We're required to have a procurement policy in accordance with the Municipal Act. And we last adopted a policy here in Perth South in 2012. That was a policy that I developed. the policy also included a clause in it that we would update it every 5 years. So it's been more than 5 years since 2012, so it's time to update it. So with the implementation of the new the implementation of the e-bidding platform and the move to bids and tenders, the timing was good for doing that update now and including in it all of the necessary information in regards to the electronic tendering. There's also been a number of legislation changes that have occurred. Those in regards to trade agreements have now all been incorporated into this new policy. There's been some changes in the insurance limits as well. So the policy has been circulated to our insurance provider. They've provided actually a number of comments, and I've made all of the changes that they had suggested be made to the document. Excuse me. I did not include a red line version because this new version that I presented was so different, it just wasn't possible. So what I've done is I've decided in consultation with Lizette that we would present the policy here today and then a bylaw to enter it into at the next council meeting, just to give council some additional time to go over that policy and to, if there are any questions in regards to any of the sections in that, to give them additional time to consult with me or other staff members in regards to those, just to make sure that we were all okay with all the changes that are made in the meantime. And yeah, we'll just approve it with a bylaw at the next council meeting. But I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any in regards to this.
Okay, that's great. Any questions? Seeing none on the procurement policy. So perhaps when it comes back for a bylaw, then we'll have some. With the move on to Conservation Authority Act review. You wanted to speak on that, or?
I just briefly say that this is something that we've been waiting for to occur. I'm sure council is going to be interested in having some discussions or submitting comments in regards to that. I haven't spent a lot of time on it, but I wanted to make sure that we could start having discussions on it if council wanted to. Otherwise, what I can do is I can go back and summarize all of the comments and information that we've had before and come back to council with a suggestion on comments that can be submitted as part of this process.
Okay, thank you. Did all council receive what, I don't know where that came from, the ministry or their policies and procedures that they're planning on implementing? Did that go to all council, or?
It should be part of the package, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I've gotten 2 or 3 different ones on that, so. Okay, well, we'll certainly have a look at that too, and I think it's important that we review it and provide feedback.
Okay, I'll bring something back to the next council meeting.
Okay, that's great. Any questions on that? Okay. Seeing none, anything else, Rebecca?
I just want to have a brief conversation in regards to the, I guess, the current stay-at-home order. We have been shifting things around the office a little and bringing back staff more on a full-time basis. Some staff members continue to alternate in and out of the office, where the admin staff are now starting on Monday, attending on a daily basis. So we are still trying to kind of regulate the traffic that's coming in and out of the building. We are coming up to a tax due date, which is another thing at the end of the month. So in preparation for that, we thought that it would probably be good to do that. And also, I would recommend that we reopen the township office to the public. We are currently operating kind of on a curbside pickup or an appointment only. Again, the traffic is really low, and the majority of people are there to pick up building permits. We have all the necessary safety protocols in place, and I believe that it would be safe to open that up. So I thought we could have a discussion about that. And also, We are starting to get a lot of calls in regards to the landfill. So the landfill was closed. We didn't really put an end date on it, but we closed it as a result of the stay-at-home order. So I wasn't sure whether there should be further discussions on the landfill, whether there was some concerns from the public about opening it, or if we would continue to keep that closed until the end of the stay-at-home order. It might actually, if we were to open it up back on schedule and the stay-at-home order wasn't extended, I think it would naturally fall okay based on the date, the first Saturday. So I thought I'd just open, I thought maybe it'd be good to have some discussion and feedback from council in regards to that.
Councilor Cormier.
I don't see any problem with the landfill being open because of, there won't be much contact there. And I see no problem with opening that. And then as far as the township office, it probably is important to open it up, but you could always have a notice on the door that only one person allowed it in at a time if it was a concern.
True.
Okay. So Councilor Cormier, you were thinking of opening it up for the first Saturday in June?
Yeah, I think with the weather the way it is. Oh, you mean the township office, Bob?
No, they don't. The landfill.
I think with the time of year we are and people doing yard work and that, I think all of a sudden if we wait quite a bit longer, it's going to be kind of a wild show. It's probably better to get it open sooner than later. Yeah. So I see no problem with it. Yeah.
Okay, that's from council. Councilor Martin.
So did we close it before because of payment? Was that why we were closed when some of the other municipalities' landfills are open still?
Well, our landfill's a little different than some of the others because the others accept bag garbage. So, garbage is an essential service. So we're certainly open to keeping it, we're allowed to keep it open. That's not the issue. It was more of a, there's a stay-at-home order. We don't want to encourage the public to be out and about. It didn't seem like, it was a really essential that people bring their waste to the landfill for the period of the stay-at-home orders. So that was basically why it had been closed. Initially, I guess in the first wave, definitely there was some safety concerns, but we were able to work through those over the summer and we're able to open it again so that we have all the safety protocols in place. There is some cash handling, but that's something that you're always going to have. We have cash handling at the municipal office, similar to banks and retail stores as well. So it's not that big of an issue.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to get it open because otherwise we've got so much ditch dumping that happens, and the longer we keep it closed, I think we run into more concern with that. One other thing I was wondering, Rebecca, have you guys noticed a difference in how people are paying their taxes now? Because I believe at one point we were renting a machine for the checks that were coming in, and paying a rental fee on that. And I'm wondering if there was a shift and if that still makes sense to do that, or if people have learned to pay online.
So I can say over the years that I've been with the township, there's been a significant increase in the way that people pay their taxes. When I first started with the township, a tax due date was a week-long event of people coming to the office and socializing in the lobby, catching up on conversations, and lots of cash. And so definitely we've gotten away from that. You hardly notice the uptick in traffic sometimes, even in the week leading up to tax due dates as you would in the past. So a definite increase in the number of people who participate in the pre-authorized payments, whether we take the money monthly or we take the money on the due date from their bank account. A lot of people have found our Dropbox now since the pandemic, and having that, they would normally maybe come to the office and walk in, but now they're just coming to the office and putting it into the Dropbox. In regards to the machine that we rent, the purpose of renting that was to eliminate the trips to the bank. So we scan the checks that we do receive, and we don't actually have to take them to the bank as part of a bank deposit, and it just reduces the trips that we have to make there. So I would say that renting that machine is definitely worthwhile, because there's always going to be people that pay us in checks, including the federal government who just paid us for a summer student. So it's an example that there's always checks coming in, even from other levels of government. So having that machine and paying that rental fee is definitely worthwhile.
Thank you.
Further questions, Deputy Mayor Aitchison?
Back to the dump. I think we should open it now. I can see why we did close it before, but I think it's time to open again with this weather. And back to that machine for the checks. Is there not a phone app you can get that done on? Like most of the banks now will give you a phone app. You can just scan it with your phone and it's in your account.
Right, but this is for the township checks. So
But
it's better.
if you have a township phone.
Yeah, this machine though will do, like, I don't know what its actual rate is, but it does stacks of checks in.
Okay, it's
in
like a
matter
cash
of
counter.
minutes. Yeah, it's exactly like a cash counter, only it scans checks. Yeah.
Councilor Orr?
I don't have a problem with the dump. I would be curious to see what the other municipalities are doing or about opening, only because I guess we're all supposed to not be doing this and to have an office open. I wouldn't want to advertise that the office is open. I do like the one person at a time, but I am curious, do you know what the other offices are doing?
I can get an update probably to see more recently, because I do think there's a combination of some offices are closed and some are open. We did previously have the limitation in the office for one household at a time, so it wasn't necessarily one person, but as long as you're from the same household in case somebody needed assistance. But I can certainly do that. It's not uncommon for us to open the office when others are closed, because we did that before. And again, it was really just a reflection of having the proper safety protocols in place. Our building is relatively new, especially compared to some of the other municipalities, and it's set up properly. I know the county has challenges, places in older buildings like Stratford City Hall, it's very challenging for them to centralize some of their services, and it's just easy for us to do. So it does all weigh into the why we're able to do it, and maybe another municipality can't. And then in regards to the landfills, I believe that most of the landfills are open. Maybe Ken, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of them are they considered an essential service, and they also found in the first wave that their ratepayers really felt that the landfill needed to be open. So I think while we were the only ones that opened our municipal office, we were one of the only ones that had our landfill closed. So it kind of went both ways. But if council would like, I can do some research into that and circulate that if you'd like.
Okay, Councilor Jeffrey.
When is the lockdown coming off?
Right now, I believe it's scheduled June 2nd.
Well, then the Saturday, no effect.
Pardon?
To this. So then Saturday, we wouldn't be breaking any law.
On June the 5th.
June, yeah.
We're not breaking any law anyway, Bill.
No.
Yeah, okay, good. Just to clarify that. Good, thanks.
Okay. I guess, is that what council was thinking, was June the 5th, reopening the landfill? Just for anyone that hasn't been there, usually that's a social area too.
Move from the office to the landfill.
Yeah. I know I see quite a few people there that I know, and so
you just have to go to the front. You just have to go to the front door of the lumberyard if you want a social area.
So
they are 6 feet apart, but there's lots of people there usually. Yeah.
So I guess my only question would be then, Ken, do you see any concerns with the landfill opening at the end of the stay-at-home order and have it open on June 5th?
Oh, I think that'll be okay. And I'm fairly certain most of the other landfills are already open. And we had protocols in place before, and I expect it will be the same. I'll check with the staff, make sure everything's okay with them. But I think we should be good for the 5th, yes.
Great.
Okay, that's good. And that'll give you a little bit of time if you have to make some changes. Deputy Mayor Aitchison.
Just want to make a point here. There's no guarantee that a lockdown's ending on June the 2nd, just so you know.
Yep.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers
Yeah.
crossed. And if it does end, you're going to see changes, and it's not going to be a color-coded system or some things like that. It'll be opened up differently. Put it that way.
Yeah, I saw that on the news that basically color code is gone.
It's basically possibly back to regionalization and whatnot, but we'll see. No guarantees.
Yes. Okay, so anything else, Rebecca?
No, that's all for me tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll move on to the clerk's report. And
I don't really have a whole lot on my report. Business as usual, a lot of planning questions, and I forgot to print out my report, but anyway, pretty much business as usual. It's been a challenge working from home every other day, just trying to keep organized, but I think we're moving along. So the planning department now has a new planning assistant, Rachel Suffren, who worked, I believe, in the tourism and economic development department. And so we've had conversations, and I think she's going to be a great asset to the planning department. So, and she's going to take over some of my workload. So that's exciting for me. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Deputy Mayor Aitchison.
Rachel worked in admin services, so she is moving to planning, and we're moving some from MecDev. One person from MecDev back into admin services, and it's going to concentrate more on communications. And that would be Sarah.
Councilor Orr.
Just wondering, you've got in here that you went to the Perth County Municipal Day planning. Do you know what that date is?
It's always the third Wednesday in November.
Okay.
I believe. I don't have the date off the top of my head. We're just starting brainstorming and planning. I think we're going to have some good topics again. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Further questions for Lizette? Councilor Corbian.
Hey, Lizette, thanks for sending the council package through in a PDF that I could actually open up. It was really slick this time.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
You need fiber, Sam.
You're not kidding.
All right, with that, motion that the clerk's update report be received for information. Moved by Councilor Orr, second by Councilor Corby. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And I have a motion that the report regarding council payroll April 2021 dated May 18th, 2021, including total payroll of $4,701.98 be approved. Motion to put on the floor. Councilor Jeffries, second by Councilor Orr. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. We'll move on to correspondence, and that's 6.2 from the consent agenda. And I believe Deputy Mayor Aitchison wanted to pull that.
Yeah, so 6.2 is basically creating, I want to support Barrie and all the other municipalities that have put in for the creation of a national crisis hotline for suicide and whatnot. Presently, you got find a 10-digit number somewhere and phone a 10-digit number. And I think with everything that's gone on in the last year and a half, And there'll be other things in the future. This is something we need to support, and they're, saying basically make it a 988 instead of a 911. But I think that's something that really needs to happen, and it's for the whole country. And I would like to see that sent on to our Patty Haydu, our national or federal minister of health. But I'd also like to see it go to our provincial one as well. And you can send it to whoever you want, but that's two that definitely I want to go see it. And John Nader as well, perhaps. And you can send to other municipalities, but I think it's going to make the rounds fairly quickly because there's a lot of support for it.
Any questions or comments on that? Right. Councilor Martin.
Yeah, I completely support that as well. And it just makes sense if the US is also going to go with 988, if we piggyback on all of the promotion that'll be done, and it just makes sense. So for sure, I just wanted to say support that.
Okay, thank you. We'll get staff to prepare a letter of support and send that off and copy the appropriate members of parliament and other municipalities, etc. Okay, with that, we'll move on to mayor and councilors report. Let's start with Councilor Martin. You're down there in the corner.
I'm in the corner.
Yeah.
So I don't have a whole lot on. I had a meeting with safety, which we've now, the community safety plan, which they presented tonight. I also had somebody call about opening a road allowance, and I just wanted to say that both Ken and Martin were fantastic because that's something I know nothing about, and I put out the helps quickly, and they both responded. And I just think we're just very grateful to have. We should be grateful to have both of them because they responded so quickly. And the other thing that I've had a couple calls about is mangy foxes. I don't know if anybody else is noticing if there's an increase, if there's just, we have no programs for that. Like I know nothing about mangy foxes other than I had 2 calls in 1 week from different areas with people asking me if there's anything we can do and if there is a mange problem.
I've not heard of any, and I'm not sure if staff have.
Okay, I just thought I would bring that forward because I just happened to have 2 calls in 1 week from different people. So that's it for me.
We'll ask Deputy Mayor Aitchen maybe has some input on that.
I've had a couple calls on the same thing, Jamie. And there are a few of them around. A couple of years ago, there's a lot of mange in the coons and stuff. And I had a bunch of calls on Sunday hunting, and I forwarded that on to Rebecca. And she'd actually had some calls as well. So people who are working shift and whatnot, not only do you have mangy foxes, but you've getting to have a really bad, serious coyote problem. I've got a cam back at the back of the farm here. We've got 5 or 6 walking through every night, heading up to the building. So it's a matter of time before something happens. So there are people who are interested in maybe facilitating control of the coyotes and whatnot on a Sunday when they're not working. Put it that way. But there are out there.
Okay, thank you. Do you have more, Councilor Martin? Okay, thank you very much. Councilor Jeffrey.
I trying to stay healthy, stay out of town. Anyway, I was looking on our package there about the new regulated proposal of the consulting guide with the Conservation Authority Act. Fairly disappointed in the direction they're going. Unless they do a U-turn, I think we're going to end up with maybe just as bad or worse than what we do have. I don't know if talking with the warden there a few minutes before the meeting, and I was wondering how Lee Coughlin, what his outlook is on this. But what I see that they anticipate that the non-mandatory, what did I write here? Non-mandatory services is going to be funded through the municipal levies. So that's what we got now. So I don't know why they went and spent all this money. Maybe I'm talking ahead of myself, but what I see so far, a lot of work for nothing, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe somebody else can comment on that or know more than I do. Would appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Corrigan.
I seen in there that they'll have an advisory board with, I think, with 5 people on it, if I read it right. But will the advisory board actually have any say?
Right on.
Okay, we'll move on with Councillor Orr.
I did attend another Kirkton Pool Zoom call meeting. They are thinking that because they're opening mid-June that the stay-at-home order will be done, and they're planning on opening as they can with safety precautions. And other thing was, I did get a call. There's quite a bit of concern about line 32 and 130. I know we're going to repave that, and one of the residents was saying that when you repave it, like, people just consider it a speedway. So I did forward a picture to Bob that he had sent me, that some people are missing the stop sign, hit a tree had to come down. So they are asking to speak to your police committee, and they're hoping that they can get more of a presence there for that corner.
Okay. And I'm sure that that will be discussed at the committee, and we'll have Lizette put it on the agenda for us. Okay, thank you. Councillor Corbu.
I don't have much. I was going to ask Ken a question. Are we paving 125 now?
Through the mayor, yeah, 125, the section from the train tracks out to Highway 8 got overlaid yesterday.
Oh, okay. From where?
Road 125 from the train tracks just out to Highway 8.
Oh, okay.
It was already paved. We just overlaid it. It's a shorter section.
Yeah, okay. All right. Thanks, Ken.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Councillor Corbett?
No, that's it, Bob.
Deputy Mayor Aitchison.
Not a whole lot to report. Mobility bus is pretty well same as before. Made some changes at the county again, and I'm sure you'll be made aware of those at some point in time. So move some staff around and whatnot. Everybody's still there. We just kind of retained one that was on a contract. Actually retained 2 that were on a contract, and just made a few changes there. So everything's good.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I haven't had anything alarming. We just kind of continuing on doing the same thing. So hopefully by June the 2nd, we can enjoy a little more freedom, and the numbers go down, and we certainly encourage everyone to maintain the distance, keep wearing masks, and stay safe, and we'll all benefit from it down the road. So with that, we'll move on to Mayor's update, and I have a motion that the report regarding the Mayor's monthly activity report for the month of April 2021, dated May 18th, 2021, be received for information. Moved by Deputy Mayor Aitchison, second by Councillor Orr. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right, we have a bylaw 42-2021 being a bylaw to authorize a site plan agreement with 2134560 Ontario Limited be given first, second, and third readings and be properly signed and sealed. Moved by Councillor Jeffrey, second by Council Martin. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Do we have any announcements? Notice of motions? I don't believe we have any other business. And we don't have any public tuned in tonight. So, motion that bylaw 43-2021 being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify the matters dealt with by resolution of the Township of Perth South, be given first, second, and third readings and be properly signed and sealed. Moved by Deputy Mayor Aitken, second by Councillor Orr. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And I have a motion that the council meeting hereby adjourns at 8:37 p.m. Moved by Councillor Jeffrey, second by Councillor Corview. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
I got a
Thank
quick
you very
question
much,
for Sue.
everyone.
Quick question for Sue. How long's that video?
1 minute.
Okie dokie.
Thank you.
See y'all.
All right.
Stay.